afternoon, everybody. It's Carol Walsh coming to you. Today, I want to talk with my folks out there who are thinking about buying a home. And maybe you've been on Zillow a whole lot and you're thinking about hitting the button, but you're worried. It seems like there might be just too much difficulty in this situation. But don't worry, I got you. And so we can just break this down, make it a little bit easier, demystify some things, and also hopefully give you some hope. So, we want to talk about your search. And I know everybody has been saving the homes that they might like or doing things like driving around neighborhoods and maybe going to open houses. Those are all great ways to get an idea of what's in your market and what you think your needs and wants might be. But the reality is, one way to be a lot more successful is to work with an agent who knows how to get homes before they're even on the market. And we'll talk about that more as we go through. One of the other things we've got to talk about is how important it is you have a good team. It's not just me as a real estate agent helping you. There's a whole bunch of other people involved in this process. Especially the lender that you choose to work with is so vital in how much stress you deal with. There's a good way and a bad way to go about getting pre-approved and making sure that it's something that works for you and also makes you a really strong buyer. All right, so let's talk through the purchasing process a little bit. We all kind of go through the same steps every time, but how they happen, how quickly they happen, those are all dependent on your unique situation. So we're going to go through the process of getting our pre-approval. We're going to figure out what you really need and then get as many of those wants in as well. We're going to talk about how I get paid and sign an agreement so that I can show you houses. And we're going to look at properties and we're going to write an offer where we negotiate the terms and we go through the whole process of contingencies and making sure that you have all the things, all the questions answered, and we get ready for closing and bam, you're moving in. That's the exciting part. But there's a lot of work to get there. It's really important that you know that I'm here the whole time. This is not just, I'm going to help you look at a home on Zillow, open a door. This is a really big event in your life. And so I'm going to be there to educate you every step of the way and help you make the best decisions that you can make for your family. Now, so we can be as successful as we can possibly be, we've got to get you pre-approved. And we don't want just any old pre-approval. We want what's called a fully underwritten pre-approval. And why does this matter? Because many times folks might go on to say your rocket.com and punch in their info and see what they can afford. They might get what's called a pre-qualification letter. That doesn't really mean squat. Now, the next is what we call a pre-approval, where you submit a bunch of information, they take a look at it, and it gives you a pretty good comfort that you're going to be able to close this loan. But it's going to go through underwriting. That's when problems come up. And when you're in week 2 or 3 of a transaction scrambling to answer a question or find a document, it's no fun and it adds a lot of stress. So instead, let's get that done at the beginning. Let's answer all the questions, make sure everything is squared away, and then you're going to have way less stress as we go through. But more important, a seller is going to look at your offer and put it above somebody who does not have that kind of pre-approval. So it really gives you a leg up when you're trying to make a strong offer on a house that you really want. So everybody's going to go through the same process in terms of their income, their assets, their debts, all of that information. You're going to have to provide it. So having it together and ready to go is really great because in that way you can go out there and go to several different banks, brokers, and get different quotes so you can see where the best value is for you. Now, we're ready to actually go searching for your home for reals. You've got a pre-approval. You've got your down payment money ready to go. This is when we get to business. And we're not just going to be looking at stuff that's on the market. That's really important. A lot of stuff transacts before it ever hits the market. You'll find things in coming soon that aren't seen by everybody else. We find things that are off market by directing mail, other type of outreach to sellers in the neighborhoods that you want. But the thing is, I got to know what you want. So we have to get real detailed about what you need and then as many wants as we can possibly fill into that bucket depending on your particular budget. Now, we're going to get you set up in this portal. And this is important because one of the things I can do to be more effective is to understand the homes that make you go yay and the ones that you go no way, Jose. So we'll be working together to set that up. And then it'll help you because you'll be able to see things, favorite them. I will be able to see what you're looking at. And it'll just make it a much more seamless process. You're not having to email me things. I can just see what's happening really easily and send you stuff as well. Now we're getting to the point where we see something, it's really what you want, we're ready to make an offer, and here we are. We're ready to move quick because we've got all of our ducks in a row. We've got our fully underwritten pre-approval, we've got our funds, and now we've got to make that offer. And we're going to go through the process together of figuring out what's the best way to approach this. And the number one way to do that is to figure out what a seller needs to say yes. Once we get you actually into contract and the seller accepts your offer, then we are what I call off to the races. And that means we're going to go through a step-by-step process. We're going to have home inspections. We're going to have a title search if it hasn't already been done. We're going to have most likely an appraisal done. And we'll go through the process of walking through to make sure nothing's changed. We'll work with the title company to set up your signing, and that's the exciting moment when you get to close and get those keys. But all along that way, it's going to be me supporting you and my team. And that means making sure that your information is safe, that we are looking out for scams out there because sadly there are too many. And so it's really important that we work with folks who safeguard your information. And as we get through the end of this presentation, thanks for hanging with me. You know, buyers have choices, and so do sellers, on what they choose out there, whether it's title companies, mortgage companies, home warranty, all that stuff. And we're here to really give you that full spectrum of support so you feel like you know you're getting your problems dealt with. We're just anticipating things so you don't have problems in the first place and giving you the kind of experience that you deserve. So we want to talk about how I'm going to get paid in this process. I'm sure you've probably heard, or maybe you read something in the newspaper or saw a video about it. The way compensation is paid to agents has changed. It's always been negotiable. But these days, we have to actually go through the process now of signing what's called a buyer agency agreement, much like a listing agreement with a seller, establishing what my compensation is at the beginning of our relationship before I can show you homes. Now, there's lots of ways for me to get paid. It might be a combination of the seller paying the fee. It might be a combination of you paying it as well. But at the end of the day, you're going to feel fully aware and have the knowledge of what kind of services I'm providing for this fee. And it's going to be a seamless part of the transaction. So we're not worrying about whether or not a transaction is going to close because you don't know how I'm going to get paid. Now, if we want to go ahead and think about this and walk through these different steps together, we can do that. My contact slide is going to be on the next one. But I want you to know that your journey is yours alone. Everybody else is in their own boat and you're in yours. And so what I'm here to do is help you get your boat to where it needs to go. So on the next slide, you can see my information here. You can take a picture of that, screenshot it, hit me up on my website, and let's see what I can do to help you become a home buyer in this year. Have a great day, everybody.